fellow viewers, welcome to Axe Television Network. My name is George Matheson and I'm here this morning at the Woodbrook Youth Facility, and I have the opportunity to speak to Mr. Sherwyn Besson. Now, short bio on Mr. Besson, Trinidad-born American educator, former national youth footballer, accomplished football coach, also was responsible for establishing the Lakeview Soccer Institute, and he's also an author. Mr. Besson, it's a pleasure. Welcome to Trinidad and Tobago.
Pleasure is mine.
And I hope that your stay has been a great one so far.
It's been really nice coming back and reconnecting and just saying hello again to a lot of people who I've seen in a long time, and you know, just vibes in.
Right. So how long have you been in the country?
This is my 6th day.
Your 6 days.
Yes.
It's a short visit.
Just came to do a lot of promotional work and try to lay down some foundations for returning.
Right. Well, let's start briefly with you were a former national player,
Yes.
soccer player.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about that career. Where you know.
Well, I'll go back to when the national team was based on almost like a zonal system, where they had an east, west, south, north, central, and Tobago teams, and we played each other, and the national team was selected through that competition. The East was a pretty strong team. We had Shaka Hislop in the back. We had Latapi playing stopper. I played in front of him. Sometimes I played right back. We had some top quality players on that team. Sean Constantine. I mean, I could go on and on. We meet up in the Samba post office in Lata's van or Brian Lara's father's van. We head down south and we wiped the floor with the entire competition those years because we were pretty strong. But it was a great time. I developed my game through that system, and you would think that Trinidad football was really on the up and up. We filled the stadium in 1983, I believe it is, when we played the United States in the final and losing on penalty kicks. So I looked at Trinidad football, and back then I was very, very optimistic about it.
I felt I should have asked you that question last, because asking you that question first has my mind is so.
That's all right. Let it work.
Working here now.
Yes.
After all that you have said to me here just now, and you have enjoyed. I'm sure that you are up to date with the present state of football in Trinidad and Tobago. We went to a World Cup. Things were looking pretty good. Right now we are at the bottom. Trying to come to the top, but unfortunately we don't see that light ahead. As a former player and a soccer coach, how does that make you feel, and do you see hope for our football, and if so, in what direction?
When you're functioning at the bottom or going to the bottom, the only place to go is at the top or rising when the people start realizing there's a problem. And yes, there's a problem. The football has not been evolved in the last decade or so. Now, the first thing you look at is, since I'm an educator, I look at things from that prism most times. And the first thing you would look at, of course, is your administration. If your administration doesn't put a structure in place to develop players from a very young age with the right technical skill, the right psychological and tactical skills, you're going to be hurting the end product, which is the senior team. We don't have that in place. If you want to go back to status quo, which is our time, you had the zonal system where you pick these players through tryouts, and then you of course you have these players in a system that continuously coaches and trains them in the right curriculum with the right coaches, and you refine players that way. Now, as a coach, I've coached in the US system, which has 3 levels essentially. You have your recreational level, you have your travel level, which is really, really, really competitive, best players in the United States, and then you have your ODP level, which is the Olympic Development Program. So those players in the ODP program are your elite players. So those players are training year round. So the amount of time they get on the ball or studying the game is probably 2-3 times what our players get. So if I'm getting more time on the ball, of course I'm going to be more refined than you are technically. And it's the same thing with the Germans, or I should say the Europeans. Look at the Barcelona program. Look at the Southampton programs. It's the same. If we are going to compete with CONCACAF or even try to hack this system, we have to go to dare I say, a radical paradigm shift, which is boarding school. erect 6 schools, these secondary schools, beginning at the common entrance level, because I've talked about this a lot, and I believe that's the way to go. 6 boarding schools. It's education in these schools, but you are allowing your players to get the psychological, technical, and tactical skills on a regular basis. Ask parents for that permission, okay? And you refine those skills through more expanded opportunities to play the game and learn the game, as opposed to leaving it in the hands of coaches who may not have the kind of integrity or the kind of skill to refine players at a young age. Because by the time a player gets to 11, 12 years old, their habits are already set.
Yeah, that's true.
So at the youth level, you want to impact players early. So my suggestion would be certification for coaches. So in the United States, you have the National Soccer Coaches Association. Okay, so if you don't have that certificate, you can't play. You can't coach at the travel league level.
Yes.
So I think that should be established here. We have the coaches. We have smart guys in Trinidad. So if we could come up with a system that would certify these coaches, you have to go through this program first before you touch one of these young people here.
Yes.
I think that's the starting place for improvement.
Because what happens here is that if you select 10 coaches, or let's say 10 academies,
right,
and you go to these academies, is that each coach teaches a different style. Now, let's say out of the 10 now, you get 10 players to go on the national team. When they go to the national team with the national coach, it's 11 different styles you're getting.
That's correct.
The 10 different players plus the style of the coach.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So it makes the head coach job a bit harder.
Absolutely.
Because he has to get the players to adapt to his style.
Right.
Now, these guys are already old in the business.
Right.
So it takes a longer period.
Right.
Is it not fair that we should all come under one umbrella and say, look, is it the 4-4-2 or the 4, whatever system it is?
Right.
That is what Trinidad is basing their football on. And we all academies and coaches going to stick to this?
I totally agree with you. And the fact is this: if you don't align your curriculum from adult all the way down to, let's say it's 5th standard, okay, you're going to be hurting your game at each level as you go up. Yeah. So I totally agree with the idea of aligning the curriculum, aligning the coaching philosophy with all the levels of Trinidad football. So that way, it's an easy transition from U12, U14, U16. You can even bring up U16 players who can play well enough to the senior team.
Yes.
But aligning the curriculum, aligning the philosophy, aligning coaching, the coaching mentality is really, really important. It takes a lot of work. If we have the will, we could do this. But again, the personalities in this country and the administrative aspect of it has hurt our football. So yes, I mean those are things that me and you can sit down and discuss for years. And I'm sure administratively they know that too. But it takes a willing people to say, you know what, let's stop this nonsense. Let's compete instead of being also ran in a CONCACAF year after year after year. I think people need to get tired and fed up and say, you know what, enough of this nonsense. Let's go to let's say the Southampton system. Let's do that. Put Terry Fenwick, put whoever it is at the top, and let's decide how we're going to approach taking our players and competing at the very highest level. And at the youth level, we're a small country. Okay, so where the psychology is concerned, if you play at Germany and Germany walks out on that field against Trinidad and Tobago, Germany, they have 5 world championships. They have a superiority complex. So we have to breed into our young people that you have to have a giant killer mentality,
yes,
an underdog mentality, and that part of our game has been almost pushed to the side, and it's so critical to play in the game too.
But when you look, okay, for instance, we go into the World Cup.
Yes.
Right? We have lost 5 games straight. And if you go back to the last World Cup, the performance of Mexico, Honduras, Guatemala, and I think it was Panama. Right?
Surprising.
No, surprising.
Yes.
Now, when you watch, I mean, form, sometimes you have form today and you can lose tomorrow.
Right.
But if you look back at the form these 4 teams had, I mean, without a shadow of a doubt, you can safely say that there is no way that Trinidad can beat any of these teams.
And I have to agree with you. I sat and I watched the tournaments and I'm like...
Right now, it's a possibility. It can happen.
Right,
because,
right,
I mean,
right.
form, you can lose form.
Right, right.
Right? But when you watch the level of football that these 4 teams play, right. the level of football that our Trinidad team is playing and getting beaten by, right? Because I think it's Curacao beat us in 68 years first time.
Jordan just beat us.
Jordan just beat us, right?
Yeah.
So when you look at what these 4 teams have been doing and what we are doing, I mean, there is no way.
Right.
You have, okay, Carlos Edwards is on his way out.
Right.
We don't know how long Kenwin Jones will be around.
Right.
The best prospect we have right now is Molino.
Right.
He's damaged.
Right.
Other than that, who are the players that you can identify that you can safely say will take Trinidad to the next level? We are not producing top footballers. When was the last time we got a major English contract?
Which brings us right back to this whole boarding school idea. I'll say this: the pipeline there's weak stuff in the pipeline. And let's be honest, maybe one player we might get a halfway decent player coming out who might go to a 2nd division or a 3rd division team. Yeah. But in terms of 1st division talent, we're not producing that anymore. And so it's an indictment on our system of player development. And if we don't switch and switch radically, this is not even a small shift, because when you have Guyana beating us the way they've done, it's embarrassing to sit down and say, it becomes embarrassing as a player who've destroyed Guyana and destroyed all these countries wantonly in the past. So you know, the message to the Trinidad administrative body, who's ever considering developing players the right way, either you go back to a zonal system, certify these coaches, get the right facilities. And I have to say this about funding. It was another embarrassment was the sending a national team to a tournament and there was funding issues. Very embarrassing.
Which one are you talking about?
Well, this one.
Because there was one with the ladies.
Yes, and one with the men.
When with the under 15 that was cancelled.
There was more. There's more.
Yeah.
This has been happening since my time, so that problem still has not been fixed. Most talented players come from poorer communities. And so I remember times I had $3 in my pocket to go national team practice. I have a choice. Go practice and walk from wherever that is back home.
Or save your $3.
Right, or save my $3. And sometimes I'd say, no, I can't go practice. Yeah. Our players should not have that kind of challenge.
The under-23 team have not been in a camp, and they go into a tournament. And I hear right now they're across there with a BA11 because visa problems cause a whole set of the players. So I think it comes down to the administration of football, but this has been going on for
years,
a number of years.
Yeah.
I was in Tobago here this last weekend here. There were the Legends tournament in Tobago.
Right.
And I looked at Marvin Andrews, Cornel Glenn, Russell Latapi, and Dwight York.
Yes.
These guys are just older.
Yes.
But their skills
still there.
And I paid special attention. One thing I really focused on in that whole tournament.
Yes.
I wanted to judge for myself the level of skills on the football field with these guys and the present set of guys here.
No comparison.
And there's not even a comparison there with Kenwin Jones, because I saw Dennis Lawrence, getting up there, roughing it up at his age, perfect headers, Latapi, right, York, Marvin Andrews, right, and these guys are actually, I think I mentioned to somebody there, why not try for a recall on the national team? Because I am sure, because if Ryan Giggs could have played football,
I agree
at that age,
I agree.
Right?
I agree. Give him a good strong 20 minutes.
Dwight York is as fit as a fiddle.
Wow.
Right? Marvin Andrews still playing, you understand? Wow. So I think the administration of the football needs to really sit down, or if they have run out of ideas, vacate.
Right.
And I always say, TTFA don't have to be run by footballers.
Thank you.
Let the coaches do the coaching.
Right.
And the TTFA, it's a business. Right. Let the business people run it.
I totally agree with you.
Because the TTFA is there to make money.
Right.
And
develop the football. Right.
So your technical director and your coaches must have experience in football.
Right.
But the running of the affairs to acquire funds, to plan, you need business people.
Yes. And I would even say educators too.
Exactly.
You're talking about refining young people. So it's not just ball, it's also about motivating and inspiring young people through the situation. Look at Akila's situation. I thought that was so tragic. This could be a real sad day.
Now, Akila is a footballer that I think that should not have been living in that community.
Okay.
Right? This is what I feel that the sporting bodies needs to do. You look at your athlete, right? First female player to sign a contract abroad, she's, right?
Right.
We all are aware of the areas where crime is.
The challenge is, right? Where the real challenge, right.
First of all,
right.
TTFA should come up and say, look, government, I need a place for my footballer.
Right, right.
Right?
Right.
Take her out of that that community.
Right.
Right? Now, that is what the TTFA should be doing, not in squabble and,
I agree.
You understand?
I agree. Totally agree.
You made how much X amount of millions in the female game,
right?
Right? For the qualifiers.
Right.
You don't have money,
yeah.
Right? I mean, that is why, to me, the football is as it is.
Right.
But let's kind of take a put in the backseat for a moment. Establishing the Lakeview Soccer Institute.
Yes.
Tell me a bit about that.
Oh, well, when I first went to the United States as a player on a scholarship, St. Francis College, it was something that I really wanted to do, work with young people. So when I got into Lakeview in 2000, I got into Lakeview. What I did was I put this program in place. I met a couple of Trinidadians there, and we hooked up. We got our young people involved, and we saw it much more than football because a lot of the players that we got weren't really supremely talented. So we saw it as an opportunity to impact young people in mentoring and also looking at how we can help the community, because it's essentially a black community with some white communities around, and we want to protect our young people from some of the things that were out there. And football is a good outlet. Some of the kids just didn't want to play American football. They wanted to play soccer. A lot of African parents were there, and we brought them in, and they loved the idea of the program. So we worked on the technical and tactical skills. We distributed some of the players into different leagues, and we disbanded in 2008, 2009, I believe it is, we disbanded.
Yeah. The basketball game. I need to talk about that.
Yes,
that was in the honor of your friend who died from there. Tell me a bit about that.
Well, my wife, I lost my first wife to cancer, breast cancer, and it was almost like a five-year, I guess, relationship where we battled cancer together. And she taught me a lot. And I questioned God about a lot of things, but eventually I saw where that experience was going to benefit someone else.
Yeah.
Because my colleague Carolyn Klingbeil, she was a Spanish teacher, and she had breast cancer. She was going through all the same issues that my wife did, and the chemotherapy, the radiation of it sapped you, make you feel like your bones are breaking, all this kind of stuff. Husbands of wives who go through that stuff, they suffer too.
Yeah.
I got my suffering. I internalized my issues and stuff like that. But that was my opportunity to also help. And I saw the opportunity. And when she did pass away, we established the Carolyn Klingbeil basketball, a charity basketball game at the high school. And we had the middle school, and we had games. We split up the players, and we got some money we donated to the American Cancer Society, and there's a couple of scholarships involved too. I think we did like 6 scholarships of $500. So it's work that I like to do. Yeah.
So what presently, what are you into back? What part of the States you?
I'm in New York. I'm an education administrator, and so what I do is I oversee adult education, as in curriculum. I do training. I do a lot of mentoring, and spend a lot of time, of course, developing in teachers, like doing modeling and so on. So that's my primary focus in the United States. I was a business teacher for 10 years at a school district that I'm currently suing, as a matter of fact. And it's a federal case. It's going to court in a couple of months. And the book is about that. The book, The Stigma, that I wrote. You can get that on Amazon.com or authorhouse.com. It chronicles all those issues that I dealt with. And I wrap it up nicely by juxtaposing my education in Trinidad and Tobago with my education in the United States.
Would we see Sherwin maybe in the near future coming back if given the opportunity to serve Trinidad and Tobago football?
Sherwin is right now surveying Trinidad and Tobago for that opportunity.
Okay. So in what area?
I'm looking at getting into youth programs or the idea of helping to develop our young people.
You know, we need a youth program, a positive youth program in football.
Absolutely. So I'm looking at those opportunities. I'm trying to talk to the right people. I'll be back here in September again to have some more conversations. I have a little 14-year-old. He's not really he was a football player, but he had his mom's DNA, so he's a little thick. But he was a strong little player before. But I have to be concerned about his development too. So he's not a football player anymore, but I'm trying to get back again, get him in the right situation, and put stakes back here. Okay. You know, so I'm looking.
You know, there is so much that we can talk about. Yes. But if we go back to your career, what would you say is the high point? What part of your career that, as you sit here now chatting with me, you know, it comes to you like, you know, and brings that joy back into your life as a footballer?
I have to say the National Stadium final game against the United States. Walking out with a captain like Latipi, top of his game. And I just felt that guy should have been in Europe at the age of 12 or 13. I haven't seen him play and played with him for a long time. Walking into that stadium and hearing the 25,000 fans and that energy and playing against the United States. You have like a Shaka Hislop, you had a Anthony Clark, you had Weeks, Todd Willis, all those, that energy.
Anthony Clark, that was the goalkeeper from John Donaldson.
No,
Technical Institute.
No, he went to Sando.
Yeah, well,
Presentation, yeah.
Presentation College.
Yes.
Yes.
And then you have players like Marvin Foster on that squad, Colin Rock, Clint Marcel, Carlos Lee.
Those are the guys when college football was really college football.
Yes.
And we had the Technical Institute and the John Donaldson, which were the two rival teams. Would you say that when they stopped those two institutes from playing football, that was a downfall in college football?
It definitely hurt college football, and I'll tell you why. A lot of young people who didn't go through the QRCs and some of the other school system
had the opportunity to
go to John
Deere,
and so that was their opportunity, and you just shut it down. Even in the Arangwe Savannah, that's where a lot of talent came through. Arangwe Savannah is no more. So I'm wondering where's the youth talent coming from if you don't have these developmental leagues?
You know, Dwight York from Tobago.
Yes.
One of the, I think you must say, is the greatest player that come out of this country.
Yes.
From Tobago.
Yes.
Right? When was the last time you heard that there was a screening done for Tobagonian players for the selection of the national team?
I agree. Here we go again. It shows such poor management and poor administration that you don't sift Trinidad from one coast to the next coast looking for the best talent. And unfortunately, a lot of talent gets missed because of this, or because of parochialism. I'm only going to pick North players or South players and so on. That kind of parochialism hurts our game. So whatever system shakes out after this conversation and other conversations, it should include zonal football where they look for players wherever.
Yeah.
You know.
Is there anything you'd like to share with us before we wrap up this interview?
Hey, listen,
when next you will be in Trinidad, or when can we see your the Sherwyn Besson Academy be launched?
Hey, listen, it's been a pleasure, first of all, and I want to see the football rise. You know,
we all.
I'm an Arsenal gunner for life.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see.
We sit on opposite corner. I'm a Manchester.
Oh yeah, that's all right.
It doesn't matter.
You're taking a beating right now. Yeah, but I just like to see someone. It doesn't even have to be a football person per se. Step up and put a model in place. Let's refine that model and get that model out there for our young people. That is inspiring. That would make a player play on that field 24 hours a day. It's not there anymore. So young people don't have that motivation. So once that is in place, I believe we're going to start changing the trajectory of football in this country.
Sherwin, it was a pleasure.
Pleasure was mine.
Let me wish you a safe journey
Thank you.
back
Thank
home.
you very much.
And I hope that all that you have set your eyes upon to start, especially with the upliftment of football in TNT, I really, really hope it can happen, because we desperately are at a point where we need a footballing savior.
I agree.
We don't know where it will come or how soon it will come, but we really need something to come back into our football. We saw it in 2006. We didn't take advantage. We allowed it to fall by the wayside for a number of different reasons. But we're hoping that, you know, somewhere will be open, some door will open where we can have someone coming back and playing that part to develop football. So again,
pleasure
all
was
the
mine.
best, and I hope that we can do this sometime
we
again.
We will.
So,
absolutely will.
Yes.
Hopefully September.
Right, so you'll be back in September?
Yes.
Right, so we will touch base in September.
Okay.
Well, there you heard it. It was my privilege to speak with Sherwyn Besson, the Trinidad-born American educator, former national youth footballer, accomplished soccer coach, giving his perspective on football in Trinidad and Tobago, the state of the football, and also telling us a bit about what he's doing back in the States. And we know that when he's back here in September, we're going to have a longer time to sit and chat, and we're going to learn some more about Sherwin. So again, this is Act 25. We are actually borrowing some space here at the Woodbrook Youth Facility to conduct this interview. We want to thank the manager of the facility for affording us this opportunity. And we hope that you will keep locked on to Act 25 as we continue bringing you something that is relevant in sports. This is George Patterson, and I say good day from the University Center.